What's up, guys? I'm Nate Powers.
And I'm Thomas King.
And we're here with you again for our third episode of the Stix&Crits podcast. And today, we're going to be talking about a few fun little things. First, we're going to start off with the rise and fall of the RTS genre.
Yes.
Why are they not as popular as they were in the 90s?
Seriously.
And then once we roll into tabletop, we're going to be talking about why everyone at your table should be DMing.
That's a good one. I like that one.
So Tommy, let's start it off. Why the hell aren't RTS as popular anymore?
Well, for fuck's sake. I remember back in the day, in the 90s, specifically, back in my day. God, I'm old.
I'm right behind you, man.
Yeah, I know. Not that far behind. Back in the 90s, the RTS genre kind of dominated everything. There was Age of Empires, Command and Conquer, StarCraft, just...
Even Warcraft was huge.
Yeah. So many RTS games were out there, and they were so popular. Every single one of them. You could talk to any one of your friends, any strangers that played video games, and you know that they were playing an RTS game.
I mean, I'm pretty sure in 2000 or 99, whichever year Age of Empires came out, was Game of the Year.
98.
98.
Yeah, 98.
Yeah, it was Game of the Year. I think
So good. That's why.
I think the first reason is that RTS games are, like, even though it's real time, they're kind of like a slower paced game. It's like
That's true.
Like, obviously competitive StarCraft is, and that shit's insane. But
yeah, that's super hype. That's super fast paced, man.
yeah, and everything's on your key bindings and how quick you are at getting your development done. But yeah, they're just like especially Age of Empires. I use that as like the golden standard for perfect RTS game.
Yes,
Great,
so good.
Like great storylines in it. The campaign was the best part about that game. My online multiplayer was really fun too. But it's just it's a slower game, and the evolution of games has always been faster, better graphics. More thought-provoking story plot, giving players agency over the world and stuff like that. And RTS games kind of don't have that.
No.
So I think that's the major reason that they didn't stick up.
The closest thing you had, like we said, was Age of Empires, right? Because Age of Empires somehow, especially back in the day, because it was hard to do this, it educated you as you played this game.
Yeah.
So like you learned bits and pieces of history, and for me as like a history nerd, like that was awesome.
Yeah, Age of Mythology did kind of the same thing.
Yeah, right. I almost forgot about that one.
Well.
Yeah, I mean Age of Empires. So many other people preferred Command and Conquer over.
I love Command and Conquer.
Yeah, that's a great game. It's just that like my bailiwick, my wheelhouse, that was Age of Empires.
Yeah, I would say the same.
And the best part about it was like we've mentioned Age of Empires on the show before already. 3 episodes in, multiple mentions, and like
it really stands out for me. I mean,
yeah,
it was. I remember when I was 7 years old, my dad got a brand new Windows 98. It was a 98, brand new Windows 98, and the first thing that I nagged him to get was Age of Empires 2 because I had played one and I loved it. And I remember he set it up, put it in the living room with the desk and everything, and I stayed up till 5 in the morning on a school night every night.
Yeah.
Destroying that game and getting dominated by the Persians.
Yeah, boy, the Persians.
The Persians were tight. The elephants, you can't fuck with them.
Those elephants were ridiculous.
Until you get all the champions in there to cut them down.
Yeah, I mean that's why. See, this is why you always sent out your elephants with just a gambit of archers.
Yep.
Always.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I just specifically remember everyone was talking about it. My closest friends at the time, we all played Age of Empires, and we all spoke about like our separate games that we had going on. Like who was playing the craziest game? It's like, oh yeah, I'm doing a 1-on-4 right now.
Yeah. How fast can you get a wonder?
Oh my god, yeah, getting everything together, like all the monks, and all the relics.
Yeah, I need a monk. Really bad.
I need a monk. I think it's they're representative of a different age of gaming. Like the RTS genre was more about the minutia of the game. Like you had to focus on every little detail, and you had to make sure like you had to plan short term and long term. You had to have
You had to do it quickly.
yeah, exactly. So like everything was really quick paced, and I don't know if you've seen like people playing. There's still people that play Age of Empires 2.
Yeah, I've seen some streams.
And there's like insane things like so I would just like scroll around the map like all right, I know what I'm doing and piecing it. These guys are like click 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 and like you can't even see what's going on.
Yeah, well, they're like I said, they're mostly using key bindings.
Yeah.
So they're like scouting the map while they're using their hand to key bind everything.
Yeah.
To operate their different like villagers and functions and stuff and make troops. It's crazy. It's a level of gaming I could never achieve, just because I don't have the attention span for it. To be honest.
And let's not try to downplay like RTS is just like totally fallen to the wayside. Like StarCraft is still very popular in Korea.
Yeah, StarCraft
Like-
2 is probably the I would guess it's one of the best selling games of all time.
It's it's the only RTS game that is an evergreen RTS game.
Until they come out with StarCraft 3.
Yeah, I'm sure. Or until like Age of Empires 4 comes out and crushes it. Like
Age of Empires 3 I thought was a little bit of a disappointment compared to Age of Empires 2. I really liked a lot of things about it, like the home country, the colony aspect, to get the troops and stuff. That was really cool. I also really liked the colonial exploration of America side of it, but I feel like it was really limiting. Whereas Age of Empires 2 was like global. You could go into all these different civilizations into their worlds, and the campaign was a little broader. But there were a lot of things I liked the gameplay of it. I liked how you had like heroes, so they kind of ported that over from Age of Mythology.
right.
The expansions were really cool.
So let's start there with Age of Empires 3 because I think like that was an important turning point because at that point the RTS genre
was starting to die off.
Yeah, it was starting to die off because they were focusing on what was happening at the time, which was the shooters were really taking over, like heavy.
Yeah, Call of Duty 4 I think came out the same year or
there
the
was
year before.
Yeah, there was still the popularity of like Medal of Honor and then Call of Duty.
No, Medal of Honor had even kind of died out before that.
But it was still like. It was still there. Call of Duty hadn't. Yeah, Call of Duty hadn't slated away at the time yet. But the RTS genre started focusing on not so much the variety of what you could do and how you can build and kind of dominate people, but they focused on some people's minds the right thing was the mechanics, but at the same time they were too far into it.
Yeah.
They were also very concerned with the graphical quality of the games, which like I remember a big selling point for Age of Empires 3 was like when you had people chop down trees, they actually had the whole animation
the whole tree fall down,
and like every tree had separate animations and stuff. And that was all right, it's cool, but like there's not many ways I can like go about playing this game.
It's hard to see them evolving the gameplay of Age of Empires without drastically like overhauling it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like I said, they ported over the like heroes and stuff, and they did the home country to send over to the colonies and stuff. But like other than that, there weren't really that many major changes besides guns. I mean, guns is cool.
Right. Yeah, but they still. I mean, we had gunners.
Yeah. Well, and the hand cannoneers. Sure. Yeah. But then you had games like Command and Conquer, which were doing like. Very much like military tactical stuff, that's like Cold War based, and then they went into the future with Red Faction.
Yep.
That was like really cool stuff. But then, so Age of Empires 3 comes out, and that's kind of like, I would say, the last really popular RTS, because then after that you had like Halo Wars and the Middle Earth,
which was
RTS
done by the same studio. It's just that they were bought. Well, no, Microsoft bought Ensemble, which had done they created Age of Empires, right?
But they had bought Ensemble.
They bought them
for 2.
They bought them. Yeah, they bought them right. It was right before the release of 3, I believe. It was like a year or 2.
They owned them for 2. I have my Age of Empires 2 disc in there.
I know it says Microsoft. They produced the game, but Ensemble developed it. And it was they were the ones that brought the game out, and that was different when they were under Microsoft. Totally, they had Microsoft devs on their team for Halo Wars, so it was different. But like, yeah, again, Halo Wars.
Halo Wars was a good game.
Halo Wars was awesome. It's just that
a lot of fun.
nobody played it.
Rolling around with a fleet of warthogs.
Yeah, it's so dope.
The campaign was dope.
And then like Halo Wars 2 came out, I remember, and it's like everyone was like, "Oh man, Halo Wars 2 is like the only game Xbox has," and it totally fizzled out at release. And it's upsetting because the RTS genre is one of the coolest genres because it really taxes your mind.
Yeah, it's a tactical game. Like the most tactical game you can you can play, especially like when you're playing online against people who have really like meta and broken the game, and like patching those kind of games is really tough to do because you have to make sure everything's balanced, especially when you have so many different factions to choose from and all their special abilities. That's why StarCraft I think is still so successful, because they have only the 3 factions that you can choose from. And they're very easy to balance each other out, because one's like the Zerg is just all like hoarding and speed, and get your troops out really quickly, and then you have the Marines where it's like you want to build up the higher technology stuff to be able to like attack settlements and stuff. So they all have their different tactical advantages, but like when you have something like Age of Empires where you have 15, 20, 30 different civilizations to balance out, it's a little tricky. I
mean, it's not they weren't so vastly different. They had the same basic breakdown. They all had their villagers. They had the basic, the barracks, the archery range, the stables. It was their unique units that really like
helped them stand out, and their access to certain units as well. Like certain tribes or certain civilizations couldn't have horses.
Yeah,
certain
that's true.
Civilizations couldn't have like champions or
the Egyptians had the camels and stuff like that.
You mean the Saracens, not the Egyptians. Egyptians was Age of Empires 1 and Age of Mythology. It was the Saracens.
Oh yeah.
They had the camel riders.
Yeah. That's right. They were called. Oh man, it's gonna drive me crazy now.
I can't remember
something with an M.
But anyway.
Yeah. Continue. I'm gonna think about this for 10 minutes.
I liked how Age of Mythology did it. Their differences in their civilizations. So they only had 3. They had Greece, Egypt, and the Norse, and they changed for each one how you gain favor with your deities to be able to make the mythical creatures. I thought that was a really cool aspect, because if you were playing Egyptians, you could get your favor really quickly, but once you built all your monuments, you couldn't get any more favor.
Right.
And with the Norse, you just had to fucking fight all the time to get favor and be able to make your nibhogs and all that shit. That was really cool. But then the Greeks were the easiest. You just had to set villagers up to praise the gods at the pantheon or the temples, and
that's
you
it.
Rack them up.
Yeah.
So, like, they all had their advantages. And then like Red Faction was really cool because the different special troops. That was an example of just special troops. They didn't really have any cool powers, at least from what I can remember. So do you think that with the release of Age of Empires 4 and then like the remaster of the whole collection, do you think that that's going to bring RTS back kind of into the limelight? I'm skeptical to say yes. I would say no, just because of the direction of games as of right now. The big popular titles are story-driven adventure games, open world RPGs, first-person shooters. And then you have like battlegrounds games are still big for some fucking reason.
Fucking battle royale.
And then you have survival games are really huge right now. So like everything that's popular and trending and selling are games where you are one specific character going out and doing something. And a lot of people don't like to take the overseer role and then build and fight different civilizations. Like it's just not a popular game method. I don't think that it will be a worse game. In fact, if and when Age of Empires 4 comes out, I think it would be one of the better games to come out that year.
Oh, it is coming out.
Yeah.
This is a confirmed thing.
Yeah.
It's real.
So like once it comes out, I think it will be one of the better games, especially if, they stick to what they know and they don't, try to reinvent the wheel, but they revolutionize the wheel.
That'd be great.
Put it on a fucking Ferrari, as you could say.
Like the Ferrari in Age of Empires 2?
Yeah. No, it was Shelby Cobra.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, the 2 miniguns of cannons.
That thing was ridiculous.
Yeah. What was the cheat code for it? I can't find my keys for this or something like that.
I think it might have been that. Like that was hilarious. So unstoppable.
Yeah, that would be my, like, I'm going through like the 5th or 6th level of the campaigns. And I'm like, fuck it, I'll just finish it. I just want to hear the story.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of see your point. Like, it's
And it's a
past
shame.
that time. Yeah, it's past that time. There's like we said before with Halo Wars, that they took a big franchise and they tried to make an RTS out of it, and it was unsuccessful for some godforsaken reason. But I think it would be, I think you'd be hard pressed to say that Age of Empires 4 is not going to at least revitalize the genre a bit. It's going to breathe some new life into it, as long as what you said is they have to kind of revolutionize. They have to kind of bring it back, and they have to make people think that, okay, this is the same thing I used to play, but it's vastly different.
I think they could do something like kind of like what Dragon Age Inquisition did, where you could switch to overview RTS version and then go down into like
a
PvP,
first
RPG.
person or something.
Yeah, I think that would be an interesting aspect, and I think Total War didn't do anything like that, but Total War, you would set up all of your battles and you could go in real close and like watch the battles,
right? Yeah,
and tactically change.
See that would be really cool
too. That would be really cool, because you couldn't really do that in Age of Empires 3. Like you could move zoom the camera in, but it didn't change the game.
You could just see the destruction happening.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. Your poor villagers.
I think they need to do something like that. Also, the market is mostly kids now. Like back in the 90s, like you had kids playing like portable games, like Pokemon and all that stuff, and like some of them would get into these other games because that's all that was out there. But like most of your video game consumers were like young adults,
right?
And regular adults. I mean, my dad used to play X-Wing Fighter and like Full Throttle. Like my dad in his 30s was playing video games because video games were so new and they were what adults could afford to buy. You weren't buying games for your kids.
No.
Not yet anyway.
Well, my parents were because I was driving them fucking crazy.
Right, and that's the whole I think that's like the precipice of the change of gaming in the market. Mm-hmm. Once kids became old enough to be like, hey, video games are fucking cool. I'm going to drive my parents crazy until they buy me Call of Duty or Grand Theft Auto.
Right.
And I'm going to go out and, talking about how I kill hookers and curse like a sailor in front of my teachers.
Yeah, boy.
Like, that started that whole trend because parents were just like, oh, I played video games. They were fine. I'll buy them for my kids. They should be fine. Without,
they should be great.
Without necessarily looking into it like they should have. So like there was that whole age. But the most of the market is kids and then still young adults. But there aren't really those like older adults that really like have that like mind for tactical like intrigue and things like that. It's more about like graphics and fast-paced gaming and shooting and story.
Fortnite.
Yeah.
Fortnite.
Fortnite shouldn't be popular.
It shouldn't. It absolutely shouldn't be.
It's better than PUBG, like for sure. It's very much more.
Not really.
It's much more entertaining to play, but it's still not.
We're gonna talk about this another time because I want this to be a topic. But let's just. Both of them have the most shit shooting mechanics I've ever seen in a game.
It's just poor game design, in my opinion. But anyway, so that is another big reason of why I think RTS is kind of like on the downswing.
Yeah.
And why it might not come back up.
Yeah, I think you're wrong. Respectfully, fuck you. I honestly think Age of Empires is going to bring it back.
I hope so. I also think mobile gaming is a big platform for RTS.
That's okay. So that's the other thing that
you were talking about that before.
Okay, it's EA took Command and Conquer and has now buried it because at E3 we thought they were going to make some big grand announcement that they were bringing back Command and Conquer, and I mean they are bringing it back, but it's only a mobile game.
So you're saying EA ruined something?
Oh yeah, what else is fucking new? Command. I mean, I'm happy to see Command and Conquer return, but it's going to be in such a fractured way because you're going to have to pay for everything.
Microtransactions are a bit.
And it was like it was this weird form where it takes you would start. You're on one map. You would start here. Your enemy starts here, and you have to take a central zone. And there's only like 2 or 3 other spaces to move through. And that's
a MOBA game.
But way worse. But it's like way worse. You took like an RTS game and stripped it down to its like bare minimum and decided to slap a bunch of price tags on it and throw it out into the wild. Yeah. Like that's kind of what it looked. I'm gonna try it. I'm not gonna even lie. I'm not gonna try to play myself here. I'm going to try it because it's Command and Conquer.
It's your journalistic duty.
Yeah, sure. to painfully play this game that was once.
Like beating your head against the wall.
It was like one of the greatest games out at one point, and Like,
Yeah, Red Alert was off the fucking hook.
I was awesome, but nope. I'm sorry. Like, now it's gone, and now I'm sad. But Age of Empires 4 is out. Or is coming out. So I wish it was out. That'd be great.
Play the shit out
You
of
guys want to? Yeah, everybody is. There's been a lot of fervor for it. Like once it got announced, like people are kind of losing their minds.
The re-release.
Oh, me too.
Like I like multiple, at least 3 different times.
This is the one time where I can like literally say like with confidence, I am Fry from Futurama.
Yeah, shut up and take my
Shut
money.
up and take my money. Just fucking take this shit. Give me Age of Empires because I will play that till the day I die.
Yeah, I think I'm a lifetime fan as well.
StarCraft is my other one. StarCraft is my other big RTS
I didn't
one.
Really get into.
It's fucking fun, man.
Yeah,
it's so much
it.
fun.
I enjoyed it. I just didn't. For some reason I just never really delved deep into it. I was more into.
It's a totally different pace. Yeah.
Well, I think it's because I'm more into like just the fantasy genre in general.
Yeah.
Like Space Age and like Cyberpunk and like that kind of stuff. Like it's cool to me, but like it's not really my main focus. So like I really get into the fantasy elements and stuff, and like also I'm a huge history buff.
Yeah. So that'll do it.
Yeah. like siege weapons and cavalry charges and all that shit gets me going.
Yeah, that's all you need, really.
It's true.
Especially with that.
All right.
But yeah,
I think we picked it apart.
I think the point of this video that everybody got was
play Age of Empires.
Go play Age of Empires because that's all I've been saying this whole time.
Play a lot of it.
Go pre-order Age of Empires 4 even though you can't.
This is not sponsored, by the way.
This is not sponsored, but it should be because
Hi, microphone.
I pretty much tell all of my friends all the time to just play Age of Empires.
Yeah. All the time, really. That's kind of you constantly talk about.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
That's it. That's all it's Age of Empires. Do you want to get some food? Age of Empires, man.
Yeah. I want to play D&D. Age of Empires.
Age of Empires.
Yeah. Speaking of D&D, we're gonna be rolling into our second segment here.
What are we doing? What is it?
Oh, we're gonna be talking about why everybody at your table should be DMing. But first, a word from our sponsors at rollfordice.com.
Thank you, 3 a.m. infomercial.
You're very welcome. I'm here to sell you on what I'm putting out there.
We'll be right back, nerds. Rollfordice.com is a monthly subscription where you can pick up tons of dice, miniatures, even some Legos, and the great little trinkets that they supply you monthly. Look at that sexiness. These guys came up with a brilliant idea to get people on a monthly subscription. So instead of going around perusing at stores, having to interact with human beings, you can just pick them up on their Patreon. And it's lovely. You can get 4 sets, you can get minis. They just supply you with everything you need.
I got kind of sick of going online to Etsy and trying to find specific users and everything, but they have it all right there on their website. And it's great to have that.
So don't forget to check out rollfordice.com and their accompanying Patreon. All the links will be down below.
All right, thank you, Roll For It Dice, for giving us this wonderful product line. I still can't get over a monthly subscription and delivery for dice.
No, it's because it's awesome. Because you don't have to go anywhere to get dice.
Yeah, you don't have to interact with people.
No, you don't. And that's the best part. That's the best part. You don't have to talk about anyone, and dice comes to your door, and I need to go get my dice.
Oh yeah, you have a new set?
I'll see you guys later.
Get your ass back in the
Yeah, I have a set of dice chilling at my old address right now,
man.
and I really want to go pick it up. We're playing tonight, so
Yes,
you best know that I'm gonna go get my new set of dice and break them in
Yeah,
tonight.
you gotta roll them around, get them accustomed to the group and the terrain, and
But now I'm officially fucked because my bag has already been overflowing.
you need to get a Laura Bailey bag.
I need like a garbage bag.
Just sling it over.
Yeah, just a whole
Put it
fucking
on a
garbage
stick,
bag.
like one of those old like 40s hobos. From
Yeah,
cartoons.
exactly. Hey guys, I'm ready to play. What is that? My dice?
Yeah.
What?
And then I got some snacks in here too. You ready to go?
No, this is just dice. I don't know what world you're from. Those are only dice.
Yeah. You can't multi-pack thing?
No. I don't have room for it. Do you know how many dice? Imagine warming up with that many dice.
That would be
just
insane.
like
You couldn't do it.
Just be like, all right, guys, give me like 3.5 hours. I'll be ready.
But yeah. So let's go ahead and roll into our next topic.
Yeah, boy.
Which is why everybody at your table should be a DM. Tommy, why do you think everybody should be a DM at your table?
I don't know what to say. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. So I mean, I think it's important because obviously you need to know the rules. I think that's number one. That's right off the rip. As a player, you should know the rules just as well as your DM does.
You should at least know the rules of your character.
That way. At the minimum, yes.
Because like, I know groups that have the play style where like they won't even read a stat block of a monster.
Oh yeah.
They won't read like a certain encounter like specific rule until it actually comes up, and they'll have the DM handle it. I think that's a really cool way of doing it because it keeps everything fresh for the players.
Right.
And also gives the DM the control that he's supposed to have, he or she. But one of my biggest things about why everybody should DM, besides the rules, I think rules is the most important thing.
Yep,
because
I would say so.
Because it is a number crunching system and everybody should be able to get with it. But I think the other biggest reason everyone should DM is it helps fight against metagaming.
Okay.
So when I'm a DM and I'm playing and I have my group in front of me and they're all trying to figure out what they're going to do next, I give them information and they go with what I give them.
Right.
Like that's standard procedure. But if I give one specific character information and they don't necessarily want to share it with the group, maybe they're playing like a chaotic neutral character or like their character has a specific goal that they don't want the party to know about. Unless I take them aside in private, everyone else gets that information.
Right. And you don't want that.
And if you don't have the empathy that DMing gives you to fight against the metagaming, you're gonna naturally go to those avenues of thought. So I think
should instantly want a metagame.
Yeah, and I'm definitely guilty of it. I've metagamed a lot in my time. I've been playing this game for a long time. Everybody does it, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. Also, WebDM has a really good episode on metagaming. You guys should check out.
WebDM is awesome.
They have a whole episode on metagaming, and they talk about like how like just playing the game is a form of metagaming. It's really deep. But like that's like the major thing is like. It's helping you fight against metagaming that your group doesn't want or that the DM doesn't want because there are forms of metagaming that almost can't be helped. But if everybody has DM'd at the table or has sat in the chair at least once, you kind of get the sense of what you're okay with throwing out there or not.
So wait, so what's an example of a good form of metagaming versus a bad form of metagaming?
Well, okay, so for instance, if I'm a player at the table and the rogue is scouting 10 feet ahead.
Oh yeah, sure. Use the rogue. Yeah, that's fine.
No, usually this is what I see the most common.
Blame the fucking rogue.
It's
that's
always
fine.
the rogue's fault. Just so you know, it's always the rogue's fault or the wizard's fault.
It is always the rogue's fault.
But
for some reason.
like the rogue is scouting ahead 20, 30 feet ahead in a dungeon and they see a trap. And then the other player's like, oh, I'm going to run up and disarm that trap. Or I'm going to go up and try to trigger that trap. Just without the communication being relayed in game. Like,
okay,
that I think is a common and a bad example of metagaming. Where the party might not catch it or the DM might not catch it. If you're a good DM, you're going to be like, well, you actually don't know. And like that whole like scenario, it clunks up the game and it's not...
Okay.
It's not good for the flow of the game and the fun. But like a good form of metagaming might be like... your character knows that, this lord is, kind of tyrannical and all this stuff. And then from that information, you metagame a little bit based on like what other information has been given to other players like previously.
Right.
Like say you find out that, oh, this baron isn't like what they seem to be. But then like 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes ago, someone else in the party was like, oh, this is like there's some fishy behavior by the guards, Good. That would be kind of a good example of metagaming. Like you're taking that information in, but you're using the catalyst of the information that you've received as your reasoning for making that metagaming choice.
You. That makes sense.
I think that's and it's not necessarily a good way. It's like a sly way of metagaming, but it's not going to impact. It's not going to impact the game very much, and it's not going to stop the flow of it. But if everyone at the table is DMing, everyone gets that little bit of empathy for how the DM wants you to react and what's going to frustrate them, because everybody has a different DMing style.
Yeah, that's very true. Like, holy shit, the way you DM and the way I DM are totally different things.
Very different. I like your style because you're very much like at the seat of your pants, and you kind of go off of what the players are giving you. Like you have your prep for encounters, but like you'll kind of like throw in things to where like it's not necessarily like like, oh, it's not traditional combat. Like, oh, we're gonna do a complete like a chase scene combat with no initiative.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. Like I think is really cool. Where I'm very much like about the rules and implementing them.
Yeah, you seem very formatted when you're DMing.
Well, yeah, I like to be formatted, but also I have a very broad knowledge of the rules, just in general, and so like I can recall the instances where I need to implement those rules very easily, and I think DMs that can do that, they like can get the situations flowing, but it's still number crunching and it's still like all the things that they love about it, but it's not holding up the system. So that's another thing that comes with DMing is you get to learn what rules are really important to know and what you can pull from your quick recall that's going to keep the game going.
Right. Yeah. No, and that's super important because like then going back to your point again, like every player should DM. Right, they kind of learn the flow and like how these games feel like they should run.
Yeah.
Right. So that when you sit down at a table as a player, you fully understand like what your DM's trying to do, what he or she is trying to accomplish, and how the party can kind of. I don't want to say like. I don't want to necessarily say like change everything, but how they can help your DM move the game along in the most efficient manner.
And it creates a table atmosphere where it's our narrative, not the DM's narrative.
Right. Yep.
And everybody's kind of like I love DMs that are like Matt Mercer. How do you want to do this?
Yeah.
I want that. I like that type of game style, but not just for combat, for everything. Like we talked about in homebrewing, our homebrew episode. Where I like to have the players give me feedback on their world setting, like where they're from, and I can implement it in the map and stuff like that.
Right.
I like having that atmosphere at the table for every level because it makes everybody feel like they're involved in the story making process. And if everyone has DM'd before, everyone knows that sort of like cycle and like how they like the thought process that they go through to have their world being set up and like how they are role playing and stuff like that. It also teaches you how to role play better.
Yeah, that's very true.
Everybody DMs. If you're a DM, you've role played 10 different characters in a session.
Oh yeah, you're role playing like an absolute monster. So you kind of get a little taste for everything.
It's really good practice.
So
and all okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna take a small break. Our Chinese food has arrived.
Chinese food.
And we're fat and hungry. Starving like Marvin Gardens.
We're gonna kill the delivery guy and eat him.
That's inappropriate, sir.
Well, they're bringing us sweet and sour sauce. It's fine.
Yum! Drizzle that shit on my dick. This Stix&Crits podcast is brought to you by Chinese food. China, the country that tries to beat us at everything. But doesn't. We do their food better than they do. That's not true. I've never been to China or had their food. I don't even know. Do 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 do. Brata brata ta ta ta. Yo, check it. I'm gonna rap on this beat. I wanna eat a treat. Dungeons and Dragons. We know you're gonna defeat the dragons. They're coming in my dungeons. Chinese food's coming in the door. Yum yummins. Hey man, let's finish this podcast, man.
Yeah, I'm fucking starving. I got a whiff of that Chinese food, and I instantly got hungry.
Okay.
I can't focus anymore, man.
So
Can't do it.
Hit him with the next point, which is I think.
What was it saying? What were we saying?
We ended with roleplay, but now let's move into keeping story and game themes fresh. You know what I mean?
How does that translate? Okay, so how the fuck does that translate for you being a DM?
No, it's just it doesn't. It's not translating. It's just if everyone's DMing, they're it's changing how the game, it's not the same experience when someone else is DMing. Everyone DMs differently.
Oh,
And so it's keeping that fresh It's giving everybody like different like genres of enjoyment.
Different DM styles.
Different DM styles, different games. Like, it just keeps everything new and fresh and exciting.
Okay. So the whole thing with like players having previously DM'd, I like how every time like someone at your table is going to DM, you're gonna experience a totally different style, like a almost totally different world from when like
literally and figuratively.
Yeah, exactly. From when like let's say you DM to me DMing, totally different style, totally different approach. Like everything's different about it, and it keeps things at your table just like consistently fresh and fun and exciting. Yeah.
It's like spicing up your sex life, man. You gotta throw in some new toys. You gotta change the positions up.
Yeah, except if your sex life.
There's 5 of them.
Yeah, if your sex life was like a revolving door of people, like
just a plethora of orgies throughout the month.
Yeah, and that's it. And then I mean, I guess the table and the minis and the screen would be like the harnesses and handcuffs and all that stuff.
All the fluff products you need.
Wow.
That went deep.
Wow, that took a real left turn. Holy shit.
We nailed the analogy though.
Yeah, that's it.
No, I totally agree though.
D&D is orgies.
Kind of. It's a fantasy game orgy. No, I totally agree. I'm much for keeping games new and exciting. Nobody likes going to their group and like feeling like everything's bland and stale, or not even bland. Let me rephrase that. Like everything's just kind of like monotonous and the same. Like you want to change it up. Like I love long campaigns. I think that they're really exciting. But honestly, I don't think a game should last longer than 8 to 12 months.
Really?
Like a year. I think a year is the perfect amount of time for a very long level 1 to level 20 campaign.
Wow, that's interesting.
And not because I don't like being in a world that long. It's just I'm very much a gamer that wants to do a lot of things. Like I want to do a West Marches campaign. I want to do Dead Suns or Dark Suns. I want to do a bunch of different things. And if you're running a game for so long, you don't have the chance to do them unless you're doing multiple games in a week.
I was gonna say, like, what if you run a long campaign with the same characters, but you're bringing them, like, I don't want to say module to module, but you kind of get what I'm saying. Like you would run like Horde of the Dragon Queen and then like Dragon Heist and then something else, seamlessly integrate those stories.
Yeah, and like Forgotten Realms has a really good setup to let you do that.
Okay.
I also am a big fan of the idea of bringing like the same character into multiple campaigns.
Yeah.
Because that is like the truest form of role playing, is role playing one character for a really long time and really bringing out their story and creating that persona that you can just like switch to like that, like almost like an alternate personality kind of thing. Yeah. I really love that idea, but for me, it's more about like setting and gameplay and that kind of things. Like I don't think that specific style should last for longer than a year, but that's just my personal preference.
Right.
I'm not telling you guys not to run your games that way.
So quick sidebar then, how quickly are you leveling up? From if this is a 1-year campaign and you said 1 to 20.
Yeah, so like
every couple weeks. Almost?
I mean, you're talking about if you gained a level every month, you would be level 12 at the end of it. So you don't want to do that if you're trying to get to level 12.
Yeah.
So like one level every 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
Lets you hit that sweet spot. It lets you feel like you're leveling up fast, but you're still earning it. You're still like living in those levels for a good amount of time. Like 3 sessions at level 5. That's a lot of level 5 gameplay.
Yeah, that is.
Especially if you get like 5 or 6 good combats in there. Like after about 7 combats of a level, I want to get my new shit. I want to level up. I want to get
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, that is a lot.
You know what I mean? It's a lot of combats, and that's not even including political encounters or like.
Yeah, like depending on if you're doing XP versus milestone stuff or combining the two.
Yeah,
like,
and I like milestone personally more.
Like if you're a party that somehow sways or persuades a dragon to just get the fuck out of there and it works, like I feel like that's a level up.
No. So
depending on the dragon and your level.
In the DMG, if you they have rules or they have suggestions for how you should rule XP for encounters like that. Like usually it's a fraction of whatever the total XP is for the encounter. Which that's a cool method. I just find XP too number crunchy and too like.
Yeah, I never liked it.
Too grindy for for me personally.
That seems very like video gamey.
Yeah, because like if it's XP based, like, and I'm a player, I'm like, well, I want to grind.
Yeah.
I just want to fucking kill stuff.
Can we do a dungeon crawl for like the next 8 hours?
Let's just take all these jobs and like grind up to level 10, and then we'll go do that. Like I don't want it to be like a Skyrim game, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that's why I like Milestone. But I do like the change up if everybody's DMing different styles. How DMing, everyone at the table is DMing. I like changing it up because it does keep everything fresh. And like if we're doing like a 3-level campaign, you know, XP is fine in that, right? Because it's short lived. You know, you only have what the DM's going to give you, and if you're a good DM, you could be like, okay, guys, you know, like, oh, this dungeon is cleared out. There's nothing to kill in there. Oh, the forest, like, it's just docile, right? Like, there's very easy ways to get your players to move along.
Yeah, that's very true.
And that's another kind of point to the empathy of the DM. If everyone at the table is DMing, you would be able to pick up on the DM, like giving off the vibe, like, hey, let's move it along. I want to get to this.
Yeah, move your asses, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Stop talking to the potions master. Like,
yeah, nobody likes a 3-hour shopping session, especially the DM.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm sure that drives DMs crazy. I kind of enjoyed it when I DM'd, only because every time I made it a point that whenever my players went into a shop, I made the most ridiculously absurd character. Like every time, like I had a shopkeeper try to sell them or try to get them to try this tea one time, and it was like it was dosed tea, and they easily they figured it out just because of how he was acting, and they're like, okay, we're just gonna leave now.
Yeah, I mean, like if you can implement RP encounters like that into your shopping sessions, and like that's cool because it's still providing a challenge throughout the game, but that comes from DMing, and I think, you know, you won't be able to come up with really innovative ways to challenge your party or be challenged as a player unless you have, you know, gotten that experience.
Yeah.
Also, as a player, if everyone at the table has DM'd, the players are more knowledgeable about what the DM could do.
Yeah, exactly.
And it forces the DMs to think outside the box on how they can trick the players with traps and like social encounters and like bring about like combat encounters that they wouldn't think of, because when you're DMing, your creative process is going, you're coming up with ways to trick your party, so it pushes that envelope even further, and it makes games more exciting. It's
great when there's a party like that's smart and knowledgeable, and there's a DM that's smart and knowledgeable, and you just like the difficulty just ramps like in every aspect, and I love that. Like that's one of the things I love about D&D the most, like, is those social encounters that are like ridiculous and out there and just like hard. Like, you know that if you fuck up something, like, this could totally destroy everything.
Exactly, and that's one of my biggest gripes with Critical Role. They do have sessions where, like, you know, Travis Wellingham and Marisha Ray will DM. But they're very few and far between. And
Travis is. It's not. It was Grog.
Yeah,
it was
but
Grog.
that was still like very refreshing, and you can tell that Travis, just from doing that one session, has changed as a player a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, he's already been like a pretty like standout player, and he's really good at not metagaming.
He has great table etiquette.
He has
too.
really great table etiquette, and I think it was even more improved from that. But I like my example of like a perfect gaming group, not a perfect gaming group, but like how I want like the cycle of gaming to play has been Savor Dice. They're a great channel. It's started by Cody Lewis over at Taking 20, and what he has done is he's gotten a bunch of Dungeons and Dragons content creators who do like the guys at WebDM. Dragon Forge Cast, and all these other different channels, and they all come onto the show, and one of them DMs and the rest are players, and they run through about 10 sessions per campaign.
Dope.
They do like usually like 2, 3, 4 level advancements, and they have a really cool story, and the characters are great. But like just watching all of those players play together, they're all DMs and they're all players at the same time. So they have a really great camaraderie and like game flow about them, because they all like understand what the DM is, how the DM is running the game, and what they're trying to accomplish as opposed to what the players are trying to accomplish, and how to make it all flow seamlessly together, especially for something that's entertainment value. It's obviously not at the production level as Critical Role.
No,
not even close.
I mean,
they're not actors.
Nothing is that production level.
But I find that style of game more entertaining because it's less about the theater and more about the fun game side of it.
Right.
And that's I think more true to D&D than the theatrical stuff. Not that there's no place for Critical Role, and not that I don't like it. I love Critical Role. Critical
Role is just like high entertainment value.
It is. It's a show. It's more of a show than watching a game.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It just depends on what you're trying to consume. But like that, so I would recommend definitely go checking them out. They're in their 4th season of Saver Dice, and they also have a second Saver Dice show that went along with that. So they've had 5 different campaigns within like a year and a half of each other, and they're all spectacular. Dave Friant is DM from Nerdarchy is DMing the new one. It's,
wow!
The Court of Worms. It's fantastic. They're all transported into this like dragon world where there's like kobolds and dragonborn and dragons running around everywhere, and they're like the outsiders.
Oh shit!
It's really nice. So yeah, I would definitely recommend checking that out because I think that's like a really good example of what a game looks like when everyone at the table has DMs. DMs.
So that means we got to get Nora to DM.
Nora wants to DM. She wants to do a Middle Earth campaign.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we should get her to do that.
She's very much our in-house Tolkien scholar, so she would be the one to do it for sure.
Yeah, we got a lot of nerds.
We really do, and I wanna really make sure we like. I want to DM games. I want you to DM games.
I love DMing games. Phil's
Sean's
probably
already gonna be
good.
doing one shots for us.
Yep.
So like just having everybody cycle and getting that one, it's just gonna make the game so much richer.
Phil's probably a hilarious DM.
Yeah, I've never seen him DM.
Me neither.
But he knows the rules better than me.
Yeah, he knows he read that shit back to back. Like I still remember when I DM'd that session, like the first couple sessions, like he didn't know much. And then like, I think it was like the 4th or 5th session, he just became a rules lawyer, and I was like, oh shit, I got to tighten up on my rules.
And that's a thing, and that's a thing that you learn to not do as a player if you DM is to not be a rules lawyer. Nobody likes a rules lawyer.
Yeah.
Like you should get one chance at trying to argue something with the DM,
and that's it. Yeah.
I remember.
I do it.
No, you do it a lot.
I think, and that still goes back. Like, I remember the one argument we had at the table was about like, Smite. It was about Smite.
Yeah, no,
and
we had an argument for like 2 hours after the game.
And it was like it was the reason I brought that up is because it was the way it was worded.
Yeah,
like,
the wording is tricky, but also like. My whole side of that argument is I come from someone who, or from a point of view that I play Magic the Gathering all the time, and so I'm very much about how like rules and layers and how they stack together. And like I remember I was even writing it out for you. It's like this happens first, and then this is on top, and this is how it all is supposed to mechanically work. It doesn't matter what it says. It's so like if everybody has that understanding of the rules and like a rules decision is made by the DM. That's what should be stuck with, and then players who have DMs will respect that. That's
what I go with. Yeah. If the DM says like, if the DM tells me something and I ask a question, that's what I go with. Yeah. I'm not even like I'm gonna be like, okay, awesome. Like this is like
and it depends like on how the DM handles it to each specific situation. Like if it's something where it's like a blatant rule and like the DM is just breaking it. The DM has to be able to say, well, I'm house ruling it because I don't really like how that rule works.
Right.
But if it's somewhere like the Smite rule where it's like kind of iffy, then it's like this is what the decision is because there's no concrete answer, and that's what we're going to go with. Yeah. Just for the flow of the game. Because the DM has all the knowledge of the encounters and like how he's going to try to challenge the party. Mm-hmm. And then they learn and evolve from that. But if everybody at the table has the DMing experience, they all have had those thought processes.
Yep.
So they're going to be.
You've gone through this already, yeah. Like you, everyone at the table has gone through it.
Yep.
Like
it keeps your game flowing. It makes everybody happy because nobody's going to have a gripe about not getting their way on something because they're like, well, that's not how I would have ruled it, but he's the DM.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, at the end of the day, that's how you got to go with it.
Yeah, and it's just a game, and we're all friends, and we're all trying to dick around and have fun at the table.
Yeah, so. And in your game, you could just murder your whole party if you want to.
Yeah, and like that's another thing. Is if everybody has DM'd and your player dies, you are much more understanding of character death, and you're much more willing to go with it from my experience. I remember my first character in an RPG that I ever played. The first RPG I ever played was Vampire the Masquerade, and I had this like sick bourgeois like gangster. He was like a mix between Al Capone and like Capote. like he was very much like suave, like suave, like 50s gangbanger. And he died in the first session. Wow. And I was so upset. And I was like 17 at the time, and my cousins were like, dude, just make a new character.
Yeah, they're like, it's cool.
Like, it's not like you've played. played this character for a long time and then lost everything. But even in that, I always tell people, I always say that I don't care. Now my opinion is I don't care if my character dies. Just make it fucking epic.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I want to go out in either a really cool way or a really fucking hilarious way, like in Minds of Phandelver. Where I died in the first session.
That was. You have a history of dying in the first session, huh?
Yes, I do.
Oh my goodness. And then you just roll up siblings.
Well, no, I don't normally do that.
Is this gonna be your MO now?
No,
is like
no,
forever?
That was the first. No, but I actually have had a lot of characters die in the first session, but it's only when I play a class I've never played before.
Okay.
Like I've never in my 10 years played a wizard before.
But you didn't think just to not go in the middle?
Well, I was like, it's level 1. My dex is high. You know, I've DM'd. I know what a goblin stat block looks like.
Oh God.
This will be fine. I metagamed.
Yeah.
I metagamed and it bit me in the ass.
Yeah, you did.
Because
that was great.
I didn't think that. Maybe Sean will just change the attack rolls on the monsters. But anyway.
Nope.
So, I mean, that's really all my points.
Yeah.
What do you have to add?
I mean, shit, we hit everything.
I think we tore this topic.
I honestly can't even think of anything else to say.
But yeah.
Blorp. Blorp would probably be my point.
Yeah, dork nerd.
No, Blorp.
Oh, Blorp?
Blorp.
I thought you said dork.
Also, yes.
That was better.
Yeah.
We should go with that. But yeah, no, it's just, I'm of the opinion that it's going to make your game much richer. It's going to make everybody have a lot more fun. Just because you're going to have the empathy, the rules knowledge, you're going to have the plethora of experience, better role-playing knowledge,
yeah,
all of that.
Yeah, and you need it if you're going to have... I feel like, personally for me, that if you want to have the best experience at the table, everybody at your table should have DM'd.
Yeah.
And everything will go much smoother. You guys will enjoy it more. You won't have any party members being like, yeah, but. Yeah,
nobody likes that. But it also helps evolve you as a player, because this isn't really a game. I mean, it's a game, but it's more of a hobby. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Hobbies are lifetime things usually, and you want to grow in your hobby.
You also want to win.
D&D is not about winning.
You also want to win.
Unless you're doing Godfall, coming soon.
Yeah.
To a podcast near you. It just... You want to grow as a player, and you want to grow in your hobby, and if you stay stagnant and don't change things up, it's just going to stop being as fun.
Yeah, it's not going to be fun at all.
So keeping everything rotating and fresh is going to keep it nice and exciting for you.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Well, that's our show, guys. Thanks again for coming around to the Stix&Crits podcast. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel and this video. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. The links will be down below. And also don't forget to check out our friends at roll4dice.com.
Yeah, check that out. Get some dice to your door.
Exactly.
Dice to the door.
Stick around for more video content. We got some cool shows coming up for you this week. And see you next time.
Later, nerds.
Stay nerdy. We're going to roll for it?
Roll for it. Roll for it.
Natural 20.
What the
that's
fuck?
Fucking 2 podcasts out of 3.
That's
Let's keep it going. I've had 2 20s.
If only you could roll this good during games.
Oh, no, it's abysmal. I can't do it. All right, let's eat this fucking food.
I'm fucking starving. My ass is melting.
My ass.
Fucking chair. Turn on that AC too. Also, I smell something burning.
I don't.
Lightly burning.